Hungry Trilobyte podcast would like to start by acknowledging Soonercon. Set sail once again for the high seas of Oklahoma's longest-running pop culture convention. A fun weekend awaits you full of cosplay, shopping, celebrity autographs, panels, and the after-hours events. Set up in the Embassy Suites in Norman, Oklahoma, you'll find a fantastic geeky weekend, June 19th through 21st, 2026. Visit Soonercon.com for details.
This evening, we are joined by Gregg Berger. How are you doing, good sir?
I am doing very well, good sir. As I just explained to you before we started, I just came out of a recording session. I'm in my car, but I'm safely parked, and I don't have any hands on the wheel. I don't need any hands on the wheel.
We appreciate the safety factor there. Now, if I were to look at my audience, most of them would know your work from being Grimlock from Transformers or the voice of Odie from Garfield, and I do want to talk about that. But my personal bias is that
Bozo.
No, me king.
Me king. Yeah.
But I am a Duckman
I'm also
fan.
a Squeak. Oh, sorry, you go.
I'm also a Duckman fan by a huge margin. I love the show. And Cornfed was a favorite character of mine.
Well, somebody had to look after the pig, and I watched too many Dragnets growing up.
Okay, so I mean, there was no doubt that you were channeling Jack Webb in that, but I have to ask, just how much fun did they let you have with that part?
You know what? It is sessions breakdown and producers and creatives, which I know is the essential focus of this podcast. There are two types. One who is so smitten with their language, their rhythm, their words, that there's very little room for exploration. I don't have any qualm with that. That is the vanity or pride of the author, and that's all great. But when you get in a situation where you're not only allowed but encouraged to mess around with the script, I mean, obviously within the bounds of the script, but loosen it up a bit and create an ensemble like we created an ensemble, that's a whole other deal. And as an actor, as a creative, as an artist, we want more time together in the sandbox. If it's urgent, it becomes more urgent. If it's stupid, it becomes more stupid in a good way. Whatever it is, I believe that life, like art, is collaborative when it's at its best. So the more we're able to play together, the better the result, I believe.
Yeah. I started off by kind of giving a very, very top level view of your career, which has gone back quite a ways now. Some of the stuff I watched a long time ago as a kid, you had a hand in. And I know the industry has changed a lot. Do you think it's become more collaborative? Does it been easier to be more creative in that time?
I was part of the golden age of animation. I came in with Transformers and G.I. Joe original casts, a show for ABC called The Littles, and all of the Garfield franchise going back to the very first special for CBS. All of those shows, to their great credit, were done ensemble style with an eye toward what I just explained to you. In more recent days, in contemporary animation, this is just the way it has gone. Things are done far more in isolation and alienation, which means the relationship is between the actor and the director, who's painting the actor in and out of scenes, at least in radio theater or animated stories. But the ability to play together, the ability for everyone in a scene to be in the room at the same time, is very rare and very sought after. A lot of this has to do with interactive gaming, where each performer has a seemingly infinite number of player-driven choices that you have to cover vocally, because the player is determining one of 50 different outcomes for your character. So it's important to them to get all of the pieces clean. And then it falls to the sound mixer to put together this ridiculously enormous jigsaw puzzle using unbelievable amounts of data, which have to be banked and stored till they can be put back together. So, you know, I think there are things that are creatively technical and there are things that are technically creative. Both of them involve highly evolved skill sets, but they're different. They're not the same. The goal is to make the result the same, even though the process is different.
So
What did I just say?
I think I followed that, and I have to confess I've been reading a lot about voice acting and trying to you know, follow a lot of voice actors' careers and their life stories. And of all the kinds of people I've had on the show, they seem to be the ones that I have the hardest time getting a grasp on, you know, how the industry has changed.
It's enormous in the change. The goal is for the result to be consistent with every other process.
But I'm not hearing you say that it would be worse getting into the industry now as opposed to 30, 40 years ago or whatever. You wouldn't discourage somebody.
I would never. I'm a dream feeder. I am not a dream killer. I know many people who are not encouraging of the next interesting person joining the fray. The secret is to know that you bring something to the party that is not already at the party. No one wants to know who you can sound like. They already have that person. However, when I'm coaching younger actors who are getting opportunities in animation, I tell them to take the things that they can mimic and put them all together, stir them around, and come up with a hybrid, and out of that will come something new. I am an irregular regular on The Simpsons. I cover for Sideshow Bob whenever he appears in table reads and records, and then Kelsey Grammer, who created the part, comes in and redoes the dialogue. It's because he's always busy on either coast doing something else. So he's rarely available for those table reads and sometimes recording sessions. And when he's not, I fill that space. There was a reason that I was saying that, which is currently escaping me. But that's a whole different field, that's a whole different cottage industry that actors are sometimes able to fill.
And I'll be talking with somebody and about the topic of voice acting, and they will say, I really dream of being in such and such a role, but I couldn't sound like the famous actor who already did that. And I really have to just ask, how do you explain to someone, how do you get across that you have to make the role your own when it's been known by a very, very specific actor for so long?
First of all, let me tell you what the train of thought that I lost in the last question, which is that Hank Azaria says Chief Wiggum was a bad Edward G. Robinson impression that ended up being something new. A bad impression becomes something original and new. Dan Castellaneta says when he was auditioning for Homer, he was thinking about Walter Matthau, but he didn't do a spot-on Walter Matthau impression. What came out was something new and different that became Homer Simpson. So in the same way, to make things your own, it's really cryptic language. It doesn't make logical sense, but I like to think that the material has to rise from the page and you have to reach out to the material. There has to be something of you that allows you to see through those new eyes and make it a combination that is original because it's exclusive to you. And the only way to do that is to invest more of yourself in what you're doing. Then it becomes something no one else can mimic. Then it becomes something original. I think that's what they mean when they say make it your own. That makes sense to me, and it's always happened for me organically, and that's. I mean, Squeak the mouse in the Garfield show is the only mouse that Garfield won't kick out of the house. But there's some of me in Squeak the mouse, and some of Squeak the mouse in me.
Sure, and Squeak the mouse is just, I mean, gotta love that. But
I'm also Harry the alley cat who lives 2 doors down and believes that food tastes better marinated in a garbage can. So he's a character, but my goal is to make him a 3-dimensional character. Animation exists in 2 dimensions when the actor steps in, and the goal is they already know what he looks like, they already know the breakdown of his characteristics, but until an actor breathes that 3rd dimension in, it's not finished. And so that's something that I think we all get to pat ourselves on the back for being creators of. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means they had something else in mind. I respect the entire community. I respect the entire community of artists because the goal is to create something that has an effect on people, that allow people to feel. And I think that's what we all have in common as creatives.
if we're talking about feeling, I would be remiss if I didn't now turn to Odie and just ask, because I say this with a ton of respect for what you managed to do. How do you manage to convey such emotion with a character who doesn't actually have even words? Like Garfield can at least talk, Odie can't. Odie just
It's the
whimpers and
exact
cries.
That's right. And it's the exact same thing I just described, but you're restricted to bark, slurps, and emotes, and he's as 3-dimensional or more. I see Garfield and Odie as a buddy comedy like Abbott and Costello or Hope and Crosby, whatever buddy comedy comes to mind. But one of the buddies is not able to use language. So wow. He tries to exist and do the things that are described paragraph by paragraph in the script, and then they just let it run. But if there wasn't chemistry between the actors playing Garfield and Odie, then it wouldn't gel, it wouldn't ring true. So I'd like to think that my dog is a 3-dimensional dog. My pigs are 3-dimensional pigs. My birds that I do on some shows are 3-dimensional birds, and my characters are 3-dimensional characters.
That makes sense, and I appreciate you breaking it down like that, because I've honestly wondered about that for a great amount of time. Just the fact that you do manage to put such. I never thought of Garfield and Odie as a buddy comedy, although that's exactly what they are for sure. I mean, just the rapport that they get is astonishing. When you have a character, let's say, that's in a video game, like you mentioned before, how they will have multiple different paths and multiple different storylines. Do you ever see yourself in a situation where you have to radically change your perception of the character depending on which storyline the player chooses? Do you ever have to almost reinvent it depending on the context?
If your task is to bring truth to the character, then I mean, I know a lot of actors who are big on saying my character would never say that. I'm determined to make my character one who would say that, and then work backwards to find a way to make that ring true. In Transformers, Grimlock is given a new brain. Well, Grimlock, it prides himself on brawn and strength, and he no bozo, and he kick what? So, but he loves Cubs war stories. Um, they give him a new brain. He becomes I Grimlock, and he starts thinking very logically. And he hates it. He doesn't like it. So Grimlock, the character, although that seems like a really far reach, decides to give it back because he's more effective with brawn than with brain. I think that's cool. Somebody else might say, my character would never say that or do that or whatever. I think you're kind of missing the fun of it and the challenge of it if you do that. So the interactive realities, the job, the task is to find a way to make whatever directions those things are going, and sometimes they're big surprises, but to invest them with some level of truth that allows you to get there without lying.
Thank you for that. That is really cool. The way that you could see that even with the Grimlock's two somewhat contradictory paths there, you can still say, oh, okay, I can see how he would get from here to there. And then I put myself in his shoes. It's like, okay, well, we always make the assumption that if I could be smarter, that would be better. I would enjoy that. And yet that's kind of presumptive
It's
to say
less,
that.
it makes him less effective than he perceives himself as being.
And if you're the kind of person who's used to just being the I've got to get this done, I've got to be a decisive leader, thinking too much, being indecisive could be intimidating in a
Well,
way
I've
that
always been able to make Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, laugh by saying the reason Optimus is better suited as leader is because Grimlock's battle strategy is ready, fire, aim.
So of the characters you've embraced, do you have any that you have a particular affection for, either that you've spent so much time with them or that you just feel like they might be a little too close to home?
Well, the question comes up a lot, and honestly, for me, it's such an incredible tie for first place. I've been gifted with characters that have become iconic. Many of them have become iconic. Uh, Never too close to home. Orson Pig on the Garfield show. Well, actually, Garfield and Friends, and Orson and his farm are the friends, um, is probably the closest to me vocally. Spirit on G.I. Joe is probably the closest to me philosophically. Spirit says possibility and impossibility are states of mind. In my mind, there is only the possible, that which can be done. And it puts me in there. But as far as while you're in that alternate reality, you're in it, and as soon as you're out of it, you're out of it. And I have a very full life that I get back to as quickly as I can when I'm finished in studio. I want to exceed expectation when I'm behind the mic, but none of it goes home with me. It's not like that.
And I want to make sure that I can get you back to your life as soon as possible, because I know that you're on the road now, and I do respect your time there. But I just want to ask, for the fan in me that just loves Duckman and still feels pained at the fact that it didn't make it past that unresolvable cliffhanger.
Mhm.
Has anybody ever pitched the idea of doing a reunion or something like that now that's become a trendy thing, that we're bringing back shows that have been dead for 30 years?
I would say the same thing about Men in Black, where I played Agent K, and some of those shows feel like they were destined to go on and on and on, and what for whatever reason, after 4 seasons, Duckman didn't get a 5th season. We did a lot of episodes, but I really, and I recommend this to everyone, don't burn bridges. And with all of the aspects and tools of social media, stay in touch with the people that you've worked for, especially if you've made them look good and they've made you look good. I do stay in touch with the story editor, producers, exec producers of Duckman, and some of the cast. And you know, there's been I guess we've been close to having opportunities, but nothing happens till it happens. I feel the same way about Our Real Monsters. I feel like that could go on and on and on and on. But the real gift for me, and I'm the beneficiary of it, but I can't say that I caused it, is Transformers has been going on for 40 years. I mean, how old am I? And Garfield, almost the same amount of time. And I've never not been near the franchises. And, you know, other shows like Toxic Crusaders, it felt like it had all the promise in the world, but it was taken off after 13 episodes. It didn't get a pickup. You just never know. The goal is just to be where you are and give 150% to every project you do. And even the new cars that say they can see around the next corner can't. We don't know the future, but the longevity of Transformers and G.I. Joe and Garfield and some of the other shows, Our Real Monsters has an enormous following, have given me get me invitations to Comic-Cons literally all over the world, nationally and internationally. And that I could have never foreseen, but it puts me in a place where I'm able to meet fandom one-to-one. They come to say thank you, but I come to say thank you. It's a phenomenal offshoot of the work that I did, and I really enjoy the doing of it and the travel of it and the pampering of it. It's a to connect with the people who were responsible for the success of the show, which is fandom.
Sure. And if I'm going to confess something here, the reason I reached out to you to invite you onto the show is because I have hoped to get to the same convention that you would be at, and it just has not happened after years of trying. So I figured I'm going to take the L and just reach out to you on Facebook and see how this goes.
Well, I'll be
Because
doing two. I have two upcoming in Australia, if that's a convenient commute for you.
I'm based in the central U.S., so that's probably not going to happen in the next couple of weeks. But if we, I will keep an eye out, and I would love to hit Australia sometime for sure.
Hey, I'm sure I'll be coming to a comic convention near you, near everybody. I really enjoy doing it, and I really enjoy the opportunity to just meet people one-on-one.
And I will say I've had great experiences going to conventions. I've written a book about going to conventions. I love the idea. But I will say, of the types of actors I've talked to there, voice actors have been some of the warmest and the friendliest in terms of actually telling stories about their experiences and sharing what they've learned with the crowd. And if I could suggest, it might be because voice acting has only recently become a very popular, marketable thing on the Comic-Con circuit. So those voices still feel very fresh, and I'm grateful for that.
I think you nailed it. And you know, we, at least at the time that I began, it was understood that it was kind of an anonymous celebrity. But there have been some websites like Voice Chasers on the web, behind the voice actors, websites that have given us a visual presence as well as our vocal work. And it's all kind of jumped, quantum leaped. So yes, we're relatively new to the phenomenon, but I'm very encouraged by hearing you say that. I think that's a really nice thing to be able to hear, and I'll certainly tell people. But
please do. And you your presence is more than welcome, though, and I hope that more conventions continue to give voice actors their own little niche there, their own little corner, because they definitely deserve it.
It's okay with
where can people follow your adventures and check you out both on the web and in real life?
I try to keep it compelling and be a whole person on Facebook at Facebook/my name, which has Lorenzo Music always said I had entirely too many G's in my name. GreggBerger. And I am at greggberger.net and at a Comic-Con near you. And I'm just kind of out there, and there's always new product coming. Everything upcoming is under a non-disclosure agreement until it comes out, and then the producers contact you and say, why aren't you talking about it? And you say, because I just spent 18 months not talking about it. Anyway, there are things to come. I'm as active as I've ever been, and I enjoy it all. I really do. I used to in the old days. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. But I was part of a group that was called Famous Phone Friends, where we would call in character, "Hello, this is Eeyore. Is so and so there?" Their parents had arranged with the floor nurse for us to make calls to pediatric hospitals, and it was so fulfilling. I can't even tell you. Everybody who did it loved it. It would be nice if someone took it up and made it happen again. But that is something I remain extremely proud of. It was touching, it was moving, it was fun, it was funny, and it was so welcomed by the kids that we called.
I bet. And that's the best part of any of this, is being able to bring light into somebody's life, especially somebody who really needs it.
For real, yeah.
Yeah. The best experiences I've had doing this and talking with people are the people who are needing a little extra kindness in life, and any way we can give it to them, I'm behind that.
Right with you.
So,
high five.
For sure, for sure. Well, Gregg, if there's something you can't talk about but you want to talk about it later, you're always welcome back here. Okay.
That's a beautiful invitation, and I suspect, because the focus is creativity in general, that your show does the same thing to people. If it's time for someone to have a spark lit, have a fuse lit, you're there to encourage, not discourage. And if someone is just exploring what they may have to offer, you're there to encourage, not discourage. I'm absolutely subscribed to that channel.
Absolutely. The world is going to be happy to discourage you. I don't need to do that. That's not going to be my business. Somebody else can do that.
Wow, that's pretty potent stuff. Yes.
Everything you talked about, all your links, I'm going to put in the show notes on my website, aaronbossig.com. Gregg, please drive safe and have yourself a good night.
I will. Thank you for thinking. Thanks for noticing me. Thank you for thinking of me, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise. I can't wait to have this out.
Cheers.
Cheers.